Alright, so today I'm back with yet another chapter review, and today we will go over chapter 309, which was pretty cool, as the Blue Lock players went back to Blue Lock, and Ego is teasing us with the upcoming special training that they will do in the next chapters. We also saw Nagi with a really interesting character, but you will just have to sit back and watch to find out what happens. Anyway, please leave a like and a comment, as well as join the Discord server and subscribe to my other channels down in the description. And with that out of the way, let's get into it. So to begin chapter 309, also called Reunion, we start with the text saying, Inevitable Mortal Combat. Blue Lock is desperate in the U-20 World Cup. The goal is victory, morning of a restart. We then see a ton of comments online, some of them saying that Japan is in the group of death, saying that Blue Lock is done for, and one said that Baru will do something, which I thought was pretty funny. Anyway, we then get over to our boy Isagi, who is putting on his shoes as he thinks that he will become number one, thinking that no matter the enemy, he will defeat them all. He then looks super ready as he says, okay. His parents are there to say farewell to him, and his mom tells him to take good care, while his dad tells him not to catch a cold. Isagi then starts to go out of the door as he says that he is going now, and thinks that they are the challengers. The text at the bottom then reveals that there are 30 days left until the U-20 World Cup. After that, we see Isagi arriving at Blue Lock and meeting up with Bachira right off the bat. Bachira asks if he got a little taller. Isagi just laughs and asks how he could get taller in 2 weeks. After that, Rin comes by their side and says lukewarm, telling them that he has grown 1 centimeter since he last measured himself. Isagi is actually in shock, but wonders what he is trying to prove with that. We then see Bachira behind Isagi with a smug expression, asking Rin if he wants to get praised by Isagi because of that. Rin then gets pissed and says that he will kill him. Bachira just continues and says that Licky Rin is in his growth period. Isagi, the responsible one, says that it's enough and tells them to get going. They then walk into the Blue Lock central room and see everyone else who has already gathered there. Bachira loudly says hello to everyone. Karasu just looks at them and says that they came after all. Hiyori says that it's good to see them. Aiku calls Rin and Isagi the double ace, while Baru just looks at them but doesn't say anything. Isagi then looks pumped up to the max before Ego steps onto the stage, and I'm not going to lie, but Ego just has so insanely much aura, like he is so cool. Anyway, he welcomes them and as usual, calls them diamonds in the rough. He then compliments them on their weeks of personal training, telling them all that they are no longer the same as they were 14 days ago. Ego explains that all of them have obtained a new weapon, and the new combinations will become a tightrope to victory. He tells them that their history, or that they have made it here, things like bonds or low-level thinking like, for the sake of Blue Lock, he wants them to throw all of that away. He puts out his hands and straight up, tells them that he will use them for the sake of his dream, and that they should do the same thing and use Ego to make their own dreams come true. Ego tells them that right now they are carrying the hopes of Japanese soccer, but so what? Telling them not to make this moment the peak of their lives and not to live only by the memories that they have made here. He then looks super cold as he puts his fist together and tells them all to go beyond all of their egos. Ego then reveals that their first match will be against last year's champions of Africa, Nigeria. Then the second match will be against the world's number 1, France. And then the third match will be against the birthplace of football, which is none other than England. Ego looks manic as he starts to smile and tells them to follow him, calling them lumps of talent and saying that from now on they will start a special training for victory. Telling them all that in these 30 days until the tournament, they will be reborn into a new egoist team. Everyone looks super pumped. However, Isagi is the one who looks the most pumped, as he looks super ready as the final training camp for the U-20 World Cup begins now. Hey, it's Natsu mid-editing here, and I just wanted to pause the video to ask you to subscribe if you haven't already, and while you're already down there, why not leave a like as well? After that, we get to Nagi, who is sitting inside the arcade. He wins the game, and his character says that the blood won't stop flowing while he looks miserable. He then starts to wonder if he really made the right choice before he tells himself that there was no other option. However, he still thinks back to when Buratsuta told him that they could join together and take over Blue Lock. Nagi thinks that if he had accepted that kind of money-grabbing slave contract, then this wouldn't be his ego anymore. He thinks that it's not something worth becoming a villain for, even to the point of betraying Blue Lock, as it's just something like soccer after all. Nagi still looks super dead as he thinks back to when Isagi told him not to quit soccer. He starts playing the arcade game again as he thinks that he wants to play soccer. He then remembers his classmates who asked if he was going pro, as he still has his 24 million yen offer from Manshine City. Nagi thinks that it's not over, as after all he has a way to go pro with that contract. Thinking that even if it's not on Japan's national team, he can still become pro and aim for the top. But he quickly starts to wonder if he really is fine with that. He starts to wonder about what it is that he wants, and that the reason that time has stopped for him. What is it that really fires him up? Is it soccer or is it Blue Lock? And what is it that his ego is really screaming for? Now, before going any further, can we just talk about how insane this panel looks? Nagi's eyes are even fired up to the max. Suddenly he can feel someone doing a gun towards his head with their fingers, and it's none other than the rat Igarashi, who asks Nagi what it is that he is doing and that he was looking for him. Nagi just looks back in shock, and is probably wishing that literally anyone else would be there and not the rat. Anyway, the rat then gets a smirk as he calls Nagi Mr. What a Hassle. The ending text then says, a former teammate came to see him. To this unexpected meeting, Nagi's mental state is. Also, the next chapter will be called Just Quit. Now I do have a theory on what that could mean. First up, if you look at Igarashi's shirt, then he has a 3 on it. This could very well relate to him joining the Buratsuda 3. Now yes, this is a massive reach. However, we know that the author likes to add stuff on shirts like he did on Isagi, for example, with his Not a Genius shirt a couple of chapters ago. Anyway, now what could Just Quit mean? Well, I think that Igarashi is here to try and get Nagi to not waste himself, and try to convince Nagi to also join the Buratsuda 3. However, I think that Nagi will get mad that Igarashi is trying to push it onto him, and he tells him to just quit doing it, which is how the title could play into it. But let me know what you think down in the comments. Now let's stay on the Igarashi and Nagi trail for a bit, as I just have to say that I was super shocked to see Igarashi here. Like, he was the last one I would have guessed to be there. And if he isn't here about anything surrounding Buratsuta, then I'm super curious to why he has gone out of his way to look for Nagi, and just what he wants to either offer him or tell him. Even though I really dislike him, this has gotten me super interested. Anyway, in my opinion, the best thing would be if Nagi just waited and went with his pro contract. That would be the best possible option. However, as he is starting to doubt himself more and more, you never know. But I'm praying that he can just hold out a little bit more, and then he can become a beast again and find his ego. Now let's go over the group stage and how I think that it will play out. Now, no disrespect, however, the first match against Nigeria, I think that it will be alright close, but that Blue Lock will ultimately win in the end because they have to. Then, in the second match, they will get steamrolled by Loki and the whole of the France team, which will build up a super intense vibe for the England game, as they have to win that game to qualify for the knockout stages. I think that it will be a very close game, but that somehow Blue Lock will come out victorious in the end, and they will then move on to the knockout stages alongside France. I think that will be the best way to do it. However, it's also the most predictable, so hopefully something more interesting happens, and they spice it up a bit. Now let's talk about the training and what they will do. I think that there are lots of things that they could do. However, I firstly want to mention that I don't think that the Buratsuda 3 player will be joining the training. As Buratsuda said that they would have their own selection, I just thought that I should have mentioned that because a lot of people have been wondering over it. Anyway, I think that the most realistic thing would probably be 11 versus 11 matches against each other, to firstly just be able to go all out against each other, but also creating new chemical reactions, as I feel like the teams should be kind of randomized, however, with Rin and Isagi being captains for each teams, as they are the #1 players right now. I also know that there are 23 players, so one player will act like a kind of super sub, who comes in whenever one of the teams wants to switch, or they think of another way to include him. Anyway, I want to mention that I have a video where I go over what I think about the training arc in more details, so feel free to check it out if you want to. Anyway, I'm actually super excited to get into the real preparation for the U-20 World Cup, as it really feels like we are super close now, and this chapter was an amazing build-up chapter, and it was also insane with Nagi and Igarashi in the end. But please let me know what you thought about this chapter down in the comments. Anyway, if you like Blue Lock and videos like this, then I would highly suggest you subscribe to this channel, and while you are at it, leave a comment and a like, as it helps out with the algorithm a ton. And if you are curious to see another video of mine, then please watch the video that will be popping up on the screen now. Anyway, thanks for watching, and have a great day. Bye.